Hi everybody, welcome to today's video. Same time. So the way that manifests itself is that, 1 year, 15 years after you've installed it, you end up having to replace a roof. 2 or 3 years later, you have to do some exterior painting. A couple years after that, you have to replace a water heater. And over time, that house is going to settle into a relatively normal maintenance pattern where not all of that stuff happens at once. It kind of comes along piecemeal. That's at least for a well-maintained house. A house that's not well-maintained, we're going to talk about here in a second. So we need to help buyers with this perspective of what is a normal maintenance pattern, what's not, is the house well-maintained. Basically, we need to help them understand what is normal for that house, because we now know that finding a perfect house is not a realistic option. So if we have a house that has kind of a worn roof surface that's ready to be replaced, but the heating system's functional at the end of its life cycle, or what you're going to see called a life cycle in inspection reports, is this a normal maintenance pattern? Is this a normal, well-maintained house, or is the house a money pit? And again, spoiler alert, it's going to be a normal maintained house because stuff's been taken care of, it's still working, it's just nearing the point where it may need to be replaced. So a roof that is slowly wearing out, a furnace that's older but maintained, doesn't mean that house is a money pit. That house is fallen into its normal maintenance pattern. And that will happen only if that house is properly maintained and cared for. So we're going to look at an instance here where that's not, and you're going to see why that's important to the inspection business. So one of the numbers we always tell clients, this is actually one of the key takeaways for most people, is that normal maintenance in a house should cost you about 1% of the value of the house per year. So a $250,000 suburban Indianapolis house, you should budget about $2,500 every year for the maintenance of that house. That doesn't mean that you're going to spend $2,500 every year maintaining that house. That just means over time, on average, it costs about 1% of the value of that house every year to properly maintain that house.